Hey everyone, and welcome to another video. So today we're doing something a little bit different. So today we're taking a behind the scenes look at my top down setup or my overhead shot setup that I've been using for most of my recent videos. So as you can see, these are all of the sort of iPhone cases. That's not even all of them. That's just the ones that I've actually got here that I've been doing something with recently. But as you can see, the product reviews have kind of taken over the room, which I had actually cleared out. Getting back to the point of this video is we're taking a look at some of the products that have kindly been sent out by Neewer. So I did actually reach out to them just with a question regarding what sort of solutions they have to overhead shots. And previously what I would do is I used to have a tripod and I would use a iPhone or a phone clamp connected to the tripod. So I would use the tripod for the Sony camera and then I would use an iPhone for all of my top-down shots. Now, the problem with that was twofold. So firstly is I would always want to use my latest phone, in this case the one I'm recording on, which is the 17 Pro Max. And if the subject matter was, say for example, an iPhone 17 Pro Max case, then I can't then use the iPhone to make the recording. So I would then have to use the previous generation, which in itself there's never really that much of a difference between them, but it meant that I had to keep nicking my wife's phone off her for half an hour to 45 minutes at a time, because generally these videos tend to take quite a while to actually film, and then I edit it down into the videos that you guys see. So I reached out to Neewer and I asked them what sort of options they have. Now they offered sort of two options again. So they did have a tripod with a right angled attachment, so it would go completely to 90 degrees and you would just connect whatever your mirrorless camera is, so in my case the A7S III. Now the problem is, as you can see with this rig, I'll go more into details in terms of this rig in a second, that can get quite heavy, so you then have to weigh the tripod down, and there's always that risk where if you do something or if you knock it, it might tip over. The lenses on these cameras, some of my lenses are 1,800 to 2,000 pounds a piece, so I don't want to obviously risk that. So the other option was this sort of table mount setup. So this is obviously intended for a table. I've got it on the floor just so then it'll be easier for me to actually show you, otherwise it'll be too high up. But the first part of the sort of products that they sent out was the actual rig itself. So this is very simple. So it's literally just an A-frame, and then these legs kind of just click into various different heights. So as you can see, it can go all the way up, which is minimizing the height, or you can go further down, which is actually raising this and giving me more clearance. So regardless of what it is that I'm reviewing, so for example with the projectors, I obviously needed more height, whereas with something like a MagSafe wallet or an iPhone case, I can drop it down and make it a little bit easier for myself. Alongside this, what actually came with it was these two. So it comes with two attachments and it comes with these clamps. Now I already had these LED lights, and as you can see I've got these set to 5600 Kelvin and they're just on, well, that one's actually dropped down a bit and this one's gone up a bit, but generally I have them on 21% each. I then also have this additional little light here and I keep that on 1%, and then recently what I've added is these Ulanzi ones, and I just attach these to either side just to brighten up the whole section. So this is just giving you an idea in terms of lighting. Now I do actually have full soft boxes, but obviously with where I've got this set up, the idea behind this was I want to be able to set this up and dismantle it very quickly. So in terms of setting this up, I can do all of this in less than 5 minutes, and then I can put it away in less than 5 minutes as well. Obviously the camera being the separate part to that, because depending on how much I want to rig up with the camera, it can either add time or remove time accordingly. So that was the first thing that they actually sent out. The second thing they sent out was the screen. So one of the issues with me recording this way is, I don't know if you'll be able to notice it, but the screen is obviously mirrored, so everything is upside down in terms of the iPhone screen. That in itself isn't too much of a problem, but it is the fact that it's so small. So because of where I would be, essentially I would end up recording sort of in this section of the video. So they sent out the screen. Now the good thing about the screen is, if we come into the menus, if I could try and do this with my other hand, so on the screen itself, I've actually disabled the output. So normally you can actually make this see exactly what that screen sees, so you can see all your menus and everything, but I wanted it full screen, and that is, I believe it's 4:3. So when I was using it with that output, it wasn't filling the whole screen, so I actually changed that myself. So what we'll do is we'll get this rotated around. So all I do is I come into here and I do a vertical flip and then I do a horizontal flip, and that is now seeing exactly, as you can see, what I would be seeing. So one of the issues before I had the screen was that I would get products and I would end up like that. So it would be towards the bottom edge of the screen because I'm having to reach in so much, and it was very difficult to see on that screen there what I was actually seeing. So it was kind of the getting used to using this sort of rig setup. Now with this, originally I did have this powered up via USB-C and a cable, but they were also kind enough to actually send out their battery packs that they produce for, I believe these are Canon batteries. I'll put links for everything in the description below. So there's actually 3 products that they've sent out. So firstly, it was the actual A-frame itself. Secondly, it was the screen. Once again, I'll put the actual model number and everything down in the description below, so you can actually go and purchase or help them out. And even if it's not this, if it's something else, obviously do help them out, because they've helped me quite a bit with this rig setup, and it's enabled me to actually bring you guys all the videos that I bring a lot easier and a lot faster. And obviously the third thing which gives me a lot of portability in terms of this rig setup is the actual battery packs themselves, and this comes with their own charger, and it does come with you can plug in via, I believe, either micro USB or USB-C, which is my preferred method, and it will just keep them fully charged. So whenever you need them, you just connect the battery and it's good to go. So as you can see on the back there, it's just a battery connected. It comes with this frame as well as a sort of shield that you can actually put on the front as well. So if you want to use this outdoors, you can shield it from the sun as well. You might notice that there is a color difference. Now you can upload LUTs to this as well, and you will also have a lot of other functionality as well. So you can turn on focus peaking. So as you can see just there, it has enabled focus peaking on the actual screen itself, and you do have vectors and everything else on here as well that you can enable if you wanted. You can have all sorts. You can have the volume meter, you can have all sorts of different information on here. I personally disabled all of that just because I want it where I've got the maximum screen size, and that's basically what I wanted from this rig setup. So I wanted it so that I can see everything in frame as best as I can. And yeah, it does come with a little bit of extra functionality. So you do have another cold shoe mount there. That's what I use for my Rode Wireless Go transmit or receiver. I have the cable going here. It seems like a lot, but this is actually very, very simple to set up, and it enables me to get perfect top-down shots. So previously it would always be at a slight angle. With this, it's perfectly down. Now there is one downside to this particular rig that I believe some of the other ones don't have. So on here you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So it has an even number of holes. Now for anything where you're doing photography or videography, in particular in this case videography, you need there to be an odd number, so then that can be perfectly in the middle. Because it's not, I always end up with that corner, that leg is always in frame. Now it's not so much of a problem when I drop this down, but when I raise it up, that side is always visible because the whole camera rig is slightly further to the left hand side than it is the right hand side. I have let Neewer know about that in terms of my feedback, and hopefully they can fix that for all future models. I'm not sure why you would ever have the situation where you would need an even number, whether you're not using it for a top-down shot, you're just using it for a backdrop or something like that. But for these kind of setups, always go for one with a odd number of holes, because that way your camera can be perfectly in the middle. And it did actually come with this as well. So this is all sturdy metal, this is all solid. I have no reservations about attaching all of this equipment to this because I know it's sturdy. If you wanted to, you could also wind these in as well if you're using it permanently, but even just on the ball bearings, it is actually strong enough to where all of this rig will stay. Unless you push down on this or pull up on it, it won't actually move. So everything is nice and sturdy, and because of the weight of it, it's not going to shake about or anything. That was the other main concern I had, was when I was recording, if I do accidentally knock it, I don't want it to shake in the video and ruin the video in that way. But yeah, massive thanks to Neewer once again. So as I said, links for everything will be in the description below, so do check them out. And if you've got any questions about any of this setup or any ideas that you might have for a similar setup, just drop them in the comment section below and I'll do my best to answer. If you haven't already done so, please do subscribe and turn on notifications, because as you can see, I will have a lot of videos coming, and I'd really appreciate if you can also give this video a thumbs up as well. And until the next one, thanks very much for watching.